Heyo! Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn were all identified before 1000 BC. For the longest time, people were 100% convinced that our solar system only had 6 planets. Not until AD 1781 and 1846 were Uranus and Neptune discovered respectively. Pluto, named after the Roman god of the dead and king of the underworld, Hades being the Greek equivalent, was discovered in 1930. His relatively large moon Charon was named after the supposed manager of departed souls. In fact, Charon, while orbiting, is massive enough to pull Pluto around in a 1,660 mile or 2,675 kilometer wide cycle. Pluto was found to be dead and icy, just like the namesake god's realm, an average surface temperature of around minus 229 Celsius or minus 380 degrees Fahrenheit. Afterward, people were 100% convinced that Pluto was our 9th planet. But in 2006, Pluto was rejected from planet status by professional astronomers since they found his mass insufficient to gravitationally clear his neighboring region of other objects. Afterward, if you called Pluto a planet, some would denounce you as ignorant. But choice planetary scientists wanted to reinstate Pluto to planet status because they discovered that his complex geological activity is greater than other bodies deemed planets. So the lessons learned from the history of astronomy and history in general should be to stop acting like a know-it-all and be open to correction and learning. An understandable case is made that Pluto is merely a dwarf planet since Earth is over 300 times more massive, but Jupiter is over 300 times more massive than Earth. So in comparison, one could say that Earth is a dwarf planet. One could also say that there's only one planet in our solar system, since Earth is the only planet that can support life. And Mars will never be colonized. See my video on Mars. Outcry over Pluto's being voted out of planet status was so great that in retaliation, Arizonians officially knighted Pluto as the state planet of Arizona, USA. Pluto sparked human imaginations since his discovery. His mystifying nature was due to extreme coldness and distance in an irregular orbit ranging from 2.66 billion miles or 4.28 billion kilometers from Earth out to 4.67 billion miles or 7.5 billion kilometers. Also, because unlike other bodies in our solar system, Pluto couldn't be seen with either the naked eye or standard telescopes. Stronger telescopes showed a mysterious blurred image. In the blue here. That's all they had. And with a predicted solid surface and still seemingly attainable nature, somehow they thought they could get to it. Unlike bodies in other galaxies, Pluto enchanted like Xanadu or Timbuktu. Shortly after his discovery, the Walt Disney Company capitalized on this by naming Mickey and Minnie Mouse's dog Pluto. This was a vast improvement over a traditional association of Pluto with Satan. Pluto remains a rare synonym for the devil to this day. In the cartoons, the dog Pluto often had both a miniature devil character and miniature angel character appear, both of which he could choose to either follow or ignore. We all have such good and evil natures, outside of sociopaths who only have the evil nature, and are regularly responsible for choosing wisely. That's all of us. Pluto's mystery had evaporated. Much smaller than expected, demoted in status, no sign of oxygen or past life. But what we now know is far more spectacular. Pluto lives in the Kuiper Belt. The Kuiper Belt is similar to the asteroid belt. However, Kuiper is much larger and more massive. And besides rocky and metal asteroids and space rocks, there are many comets and iceberg-like structures totaling billions of celestial objects. The Kuiper Belt is also around 15 times farther away from our sun than the asteroid belt, which Sun Kuiper orbits. Pluto, being a dwarf or minor planet, would make him the largest such body in our solar system instead of the smallest planet. Regardless, unique Pluto is the largest and most massive body in the Kuiper Belt. Eris is slightly more massive but resides in the trans-Neptunian scattered disk. Pluto is trans-Neptunian too, but the Kuiper Belt and scattered disk are different. Minor planets Albion, Haumea, Makemake, Quaoar, Sedna, Varuna, and others reside in the Kuiper Belt too. And 4 more Plutonian moons, all petite, were discovered: Hydra, Kerberos, Nix, and Styx. Hydra, unlike anyone else, quickly rotates 89 times during a single orbit or once every 26 minutes. Pluto only revolves once every 153 hours. His day is 153 hours long, that is. Nix inexplicably rotates backwards, clockwise, relative to the others moving counterclockwise. Incredibly, Pluto has enough gravitational force to pull our sun. Though this force is microscopic, it follows the principle that every object with mass pulls on every other object with mass. So, the next time you feel insignificant, consider that you have an impact on others regardless, even if it cannot be readily noticed. NASA's New Horizons spacecraft discovered fascinating things about Pluto during its flyby. First, the unexpected maroon, powder gray, cream, white, apricot, and dusty rose colors. Besides his rocky constitution, it was revealed that Pluto's surface is variously covered with nitrogen ice, methane ice, and carbon monoxide ice. But his mountains, the highest towering 20,000 feet or 6.2 kilometers, Tenzing Montes, are water ice. There are also canyons, channels, and frozen lakes and ponds. Pluto has various anomalies that defy uniformitarian theory for the formation of our solar system. For instance, while Pluto has numerous craters, including layered craters, bullseye craters, and halo craters, certain areas are devoid of craters. While craters are said to always be caused by random impacts over geologic time, they instead appear selectively in regions and hemispheres. And Pluto's total number of craters are far less than what we'd expect for a 4.6 billion year process of forming from gas and dust. Pluto has glaciers but not enough atmosphere to naturally create them. And Pluto has a magnetic field and emanates X-rays, both completely unexpected for such a small icy body far, far from the sun. This defying of expectations is typical for all aspects of supposed abiogenesis and mindless planetary formation. But instead of conceding, the irreligious give ad hoc explanations for not seeing what was predicted. In science, ad hoc means adding extraneous hypotheses to a theory to save it from being falsified. Such hypotheses compensate for anomalies unanticipated by the original unmodified theory. On the contrary, Occam's razor is a philosophic rule that explanations should not be needlessly multiplied or complicated. Neither multiplied or complicated. This follows logic. So, completely naturalistic theories are convoluted while creationism is concise. So, use astronomy to appreciate our great creator, not to escape belief in and responsibility to God.